Cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmic. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. My name is Devon, and I will be doing a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. All right. Okay. So, there's something here about trusting the process. And the reason is there was a chunk of cards that just kind of fell when I was getting ready to shuffle again. And it was like 4 or 5 cards. And it was one of those like, that might be part of the message. And then I was like, well, if it is, they'll come out after I shuffle. And so there's something here about trusting the process, trusting your intuition, trusting your guidance, trusting intuitive insight that you've been getting about something or just life in general. Yeah, there's something here about trusting and surrendering. Okay. It's a good place to be. It's a challenging place to be, but it's a good place to be. It gets easier the more you do it and the more you see the results, going in your favor when you listen to your intuition. It does get easier. But at first it can be a little bit tricky. Um, all right. Really quick, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and your help in co-creating these messages. I really do enjoy bringing them forth. So thank you for your help on that. And also thank you for your support on the channel. The likes, shares, comments, subscribes, and the donations all really do help out. And if you are interested in a personal reading from me, you can find that information in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. Deep knowing. Yep. So you have a deep knowing about something. And but there's indecision. It's interesting. I was thinking about crossroads energy earlier. Um, okay. Indecision, deep knowing, community. Okay, so what could be happening is you've got indecision because you have a deep knowing about something that's pulling you in this direction. But then there's something like externally that's pulling you in this direction. So this could be how something looks to other people. This could be um your community, people around you, society in general, pushing you to do things this way. But then you have a deep knowing and you're being pulled this way intuitively. And yeah, that creates this pulling sensation, this being torn, not knowing exactly what to do. The message coming through is do what is best for you. So listen to your intuition and understand that your intuition is guiding you into a life that is probably going to be unrecognizable to what you've previously been experiencing. However, it is going to be way more fulfilling when you allow your intuition to start guiding you, when you start following your heart um over the logical what looks good on the surface. Okay, we've got the sun, so there's a new beginning here. Okay. So it's like the divine is helping you with a new beginning. And it is going to be one of those situations where you're going to have to listen to your intuition to embrace this new beginning. It's probably going to require a leap of faith. It's probably going to push you out of your comfort zone. It's probably going to be very uncomfortable at first because it's pushing you into the direction of expansion and really aligning with different version of yourself, a more healed version, a more grounded version. Yeah. And then I just heard a more intuitively led version of the self. Okay, we've got patience. You could be feeling a sense of urgency when it comes to this new beginning. You could be feeling an urgency on, I need to make this decision. I need to do this thing. And then there's a part of you that is just like, but holy shit, this is a really big change. This is a really big leap of faith. This is really pushing me outside of my comfort zone. I'm also getting this sense of it's going to require you to stab. It's going to require you to step into, oh my gosh, that was an incredibly challenging word to get out. step into a more vulnerable version of yourself. The thing is it's one of those, like, you don't have to be vulnerable with everybody. You don't have to be vulnerable with, especially with people who it's not safe to be vulnerable around. It's just allowing yourself to get more vulnerable in certain situations to be more authentic. And so, what this could look like is, let's say you're being called to speak your truth. Um, and maybe you're being guided to, like, guide other people in some way. Well, when you're guiding other people, there has to be a sense of vulnerability where you share with them some of those dark times and some of those things that you're not proud of, because it allows that deeper sense of connectivity with another person. And so if you're guiding somebody, but you are, not allowing some of that deeper stuff to come out, it's people are going to sense that. And so they're not going to resonate as much because there's going to be kind of this, um, you know, inauthentic vibe that they're picking up from the energy. Um, so that's just an example, of course. But there is a situation that is calling for you to be more vulnerable, be more heart open. And that is scary because when we're walking around like that, we can potentially get hurt. The thing is to understand what you've gone through up until this point has illuminated to you different things. And so it's almost like there's like energetic checkpoints when you're interacting with new people. And so it's one of those, like, okay, it's cool. I'm not going to fully let you all the way in because that's a self-protection thing and that's okay. But let's, we'll hang out, we'll talk, everything else. Okay, cool. Not seeing any like red flags or whatever. And so I'll let you a little bit closer. Okay, cool. And then maybe you see something that reminds you of a situation you went through with somebody who, was masking or was hiding something or whatever. And then you're like, ooh, okay, we'll keep you in this circle. And maybe you don't get full access, things like that. So remember, all of the things that you have experienced up until this point have taught you a lot. And so now, when you go to be more open and authentic and vulnerable, it's not saying that you're just walking around completely open to anybody and everybody, because that's not wise. It just is what it is. So this is about having boundaries, but also about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be heart open when that situation calls for it. Okay, there's action. Okay, so you have a deep knowing that it is time to take some sort of action, and it is in alignment with divine timing, and it does have to do with a new beginning. Um, but I do feel like this action is really pushing you outside of your comfort zone. And that's a good thing. It's uncomfortable, but it's a good thing. It is. And remember, it's safe to trust your intuition. It's safe to trust your guidance. It's safe to trust yourself. Okay, we've got hostilities. Is that external? No, okay. I was going to say it didn't feel external. Whoa. For some of you, you could be dealing with people in your community who are maybe a little hostile in some way. But I feel like there's actually been a lot of, like, how could I put that? Like, realigning with certain people in your life and kind of like maybe changing levels of access with different people when it comes to their connection with you, something like that. The main thing that I'm getting with this hostilities card is it's this internal hostility. It's this internal push and pull, this internal, like, do I go here? Do I go there? Do I do this thing that I'm being intuitively called to do, or do I not do it and stay safe? And, ultimately, there's going to be a staying safe and playing small aspect of not taking this risk. And this risk is something that is being divinely led. And so it's creating a push pull. It's creating this internal conflict. It's creating, and also getting like a head versus heart battle. So it's like your heart is guiding you this way, but then your head is talking all sorts of fun stuff, telling you why not to do that. Adjacent possibilities, broken heart. Okay. So you could be processing some grief right now. For some of you, there's something about resolving something with when it comes to a previous heartbreak. So I feel like that's going to be pretty specific. Take it if it resonates. With adjacent possibilities, I feel like there's a situation here where you're looking for any way in. Um, and I'm kind of getting a specific message off of this. So this, uh, okay. All right, we're going into it. So I feel like this is picking up on a thread of energy that's been pretty dominant lately. And it's for somebody, primarily a divine masculine, who is wanting to reconnect with their divine feminine. And it's this energy of like looking for any possible doorway in. Maybe you're asking to run into them out of the blue. Maybe you're asking for the divine to line something up for you so that you can have this like doorway in. And the thing is you have a doorway in to this person's life. It's but it's requiring you to throw yourself out there and take that chance. And so it's this energy of like you have a way to contact this person. It's just you would rather it be like you run into them at the grocery store and, "Oh, hey, what's up?" "Would you wanna hang out sometime?" And so it's almost this energy of like, you know what to do. You have this deep knowing. You know it's time to take this action. You know what it is you're being called to do. You have an access point into this person's life. However, it is going to require you to do something maybe a little uncomfortable. Maybe kind of throw yourself out there in a way. And so, yeah, yeah. Okay, that was a very specific message. The overarching energy with adjacent possibilities, what this is letting you know is you have done some inner work, you've gotten some awareness, some divine guidance, things like that, and you are being given opportunities to shift things in your life in a very big way. And there are possibilities opening up for you. They are possibilities for you that are going to require you to trust your intuition, to trust the divine, to trust the guidance. And again, it can be very uncomfortable because it's unknown. It's the intuitively led path is not one that's like, okay, if you go here, then this happens. If you go there, then that happens. And then after that, you're going to go this way, and then you're going to see this thing, and then you're going to experience this thing. And it's a guarantee if you follow this path. Intuitively, I'm going to put a blindfold on you, and I'm going to talk to you like with one of those little ear things. And I'm going to tell you 2 steps before it comes up which way to go. And so you really have to trust who it is that's talking to you in your ear to make sure they're not leading you off a cliff. Well, remember, who's talking to you in your ear or through your intuition is the divine. It's your higher self. It's literally like this is the energy of I always want what is best for you, and I'm going to guide you on this beautiful, exciting, twisting and turning path. And I know I can see a little bit ahead. And so I'm going to guide you to this way. And then I'm going to guide you over here to have this experience. And I'm going to guide you over here to experience this thing. And, it's a different level of trusting. And it's also trusting in yourself and the divine and knowing that you are being led into a reality basically where things that you once thought weren't possible for you all of a sudden become common, miracles, those kinds of things. Okay, regeneration. Okay. Oh, what I'm getting is you've been going through a regeneration energy, and it's interesting because the background music that I chose for today has this really beautiful blue and purple butterfly. And so it's very much a transformative energy. It's like this energy of you've been in the chrysalis and now you're like fully breaking out of it, but you don't fully realize you have wings. Like you don't fully realize that you are a butterfly. So I'm getting this like image of like all these butterflies, and there's a butterfly that just became a butterfly, and they're looking around at all these other butterflies, and they're like, "Oh man, one day I want to fly too." And then there's another butterfly that's like, "Hey, you've got wings. Like you can fly too. You just don't maybe realize it yet. It's really uncomfortable. You got to get used to it. It's entrusting in those wings. Um, that's a cool visual. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a regeneration that's happening for you in your energy. For some of you, it's because you pulled away from certain people in your life that were kind of keeping you, and it's not like blaming. It's just when you're around people who are more coming from a limited perspective, you're not going to experience an expansive type energy. And so for some of you, it's because you've changed your community in a way, or you've kind of pulled back from certain people or situations. This could be lifestyles too. It just landed on, I set it down on the community card. And so it's really making me think of like friends, maybe family members, and kind of like pulling away and being like, actually, I'm getting different guidance. And so I'm going to try things a little bit differently. And then just kind of pulling away from people who don't understand that process yet. There it is. It's definitely feeling that romantic thread of energy. So you've got caring connections. The thing is, too, though, is this can really indicate a romantic connection. However, where it landed, this is also talking about having these caring connections in your community. And that is something that's come up for this collective quite a bit, is desiring to have people in their life that are more like-minded, that are on the path, that are on the spiritual journey, those kinds of things, who, you don't have to like just have small talk about the weather because anything else you're going to talk about is so out there. Um, this is about having people where you can be like, "Hey, did you feel like some weird collective energy? Or did how's this astrological event affecting you?" Or, whatever. It's those kind of things. Let's talk aliens. Let's talk dimensions. Let's talk ascension. Give me just a second. I gotta blow my nose. Okay, so had to blow my nose. Normally when that happens in a reading, it's communication energy that is either being suppressed or repressed. And the difference is if it's conscious or not. In this energy, I'm feeling that it's more suppressed. It's more of a conscience not allowing communication to flow in some way. Um, a little side note, extra confirmation for somebody. Okay, what else is going on here? Got deep knowing action, cornucopia. Oh man. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so we'll get to cornucopia in a minute. I just got a message over here. For some of you, there is a connection that you have with somebody that's a spiritual connection. I don't feel like you're talking to this person in the physical realm. There is an aspect here of this connection regenerating you in some way. Now this can happen, through the awareness that you have a spiritual connection with somebody and you're connected energetically regardless of the distance. And then all of a sudden it has you deep diving into all of this stuff and opening up to different gifts and playing with different things and like, holy shit, like I'm really connected to this person. Because that is kind of how it happens. There's something that will happen, and then all of a sudden you become aware that there's more going on than just what we perceive with our physical senses. And then that, can spark an awakening or another awakening or a deeper understanding of the interplay of the energies and the quantum realm and dimensions and all of these things. So that's really cool. Okay. Then, oh, for some of you, I just heard, oh gosh, it was really quick and then it just went. It was something about wanting to have a specific person as a part of your community. So this could be somebody you're romantically interested in, but this could also be like a friend or a mentor or somebody like that that you just it's like you've observed them in some way and then you're like, I really want that person on my team. It's that kind of energy. Um, okay. And then cornucopia. This has come out so much for this collective recently. This is the manifestation card. This is opening up to even believing that the life of your dreams is a possibility for you, and then starting to follow that guidance and take action on these things that are being illuminated to you. And sometimes we'll get stuff illuminated to us and it just feels so far out there and we're like, it feels so far out of reach. But the thing is when you get that insight, when you get that vision, more or less, that you can have this thing, you will be given the guidance on how to get there. And remember, is the how is up to the universe, it's up to the divine. And our job is to listen for that how to come in. And sometimes we're not given the how until it's time. And so there is something here where you are being given the how on achieving something. And there's a part of you, and that's where this deep knowing is coming from. But there's a part of you, I feel like you might still be grappling with the concept of, is this really meant for me? Am I really ready for this? Well, you wouldn't be being given the how and the guidance on getting that thing if it wasn't aligned for you now. So just remember that you won't be given that insight in those next action steps until you're ready for it. Okay. Yeah. Community regeneration. Okay. Hmm. All tied up. Okay. I'm actually being told to read this card. Let's see. Lack of motion or sense of personal freedom. Okay, this represents a situation in your life where things seem to be severely stuck. A major drama may be going around, blah, 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 may be going on around you, stopping you from moving forward, or it may be some technicality blocking your way. Whatever is holding things up, the restrictions may be feeling quite oppressive at this time. If this isn't technically the case, what's tying you up is your own personal stuff. Look at your life and see how you can be your own jailer. Are you tying yourself up in some emotional angst or in a negative habit you refuse to deal with? If so, it's time to cut the vines and make some serious changes now. You needn't live in your self imposed jail any longer. And I'm really getting that this is that self imposed energy. For some of you, it could be external stuff that's blocking. For a lot of you, I'm getting this as internal stuff, especially with like the internal hostilities coming out and just that energy of like, is this really meant for me? Is this really in my highest good? Is this really what I'm being called to do? For some of you, you're being called to do something that maybe you're not fully seeing how it's aligning with your ideal version of reality. And that happens too. Sometimes we'll be guided into situations that don't make, I just heard a lick of sense. They don't make any damn sense in the moment. And then it's only by following your intuition, going through that thing, and then you get the clarity. So remember that too. A lot of times clarity comes in hindsight. Peace. Peace. Okay. Weird. Anyways, um, I feel like part of what you are desiring to experience as far as like your ideal version of reality, like if you could pick anything, I do feel like peace is a big underlying thing to experience. Words are not wording right now. Um, it's like maybe you've dealt with a lot of just drama with people. And, in difficulties, like it's not really like super difficulty that I'm getting. It's just like, ugh. It's like, I have to get up and I have to go to work and then I have to do this thing. And then you try and find a reprieve by hanging out with somebody and then it's drama. Or, you start dating somebody and then it turns into drama or stuff like that where you're just like, I just want peace. I just want to have a primarily peaceful experience. And yeah, that's a beautiful thing to have. Remember, it starts off internally. And so sometimes there are situations where we have to do something, we have to communicate with somebody, we have to communicate our truth, we have to stand in our authenticity and do something very uncomfortable to kind of get a weight off of our shoulders. And I do feel like that is something that you're being called to do. You're being called to address something that is it's making you uncomfortable. It's because it's pushing you outside of your comfort zone. It's requiring you to show up in a way that you normally don't show up in. It's like an energy that you're being called to show up in that I feel like it's just not your normal energy that you've it's not saying it's not your normal energy. It's just saying that you're not used to being in that energy when it comes to another person. And I'm getting like that vulnerability, um, heart open kind of energy. And this might not be for everybody. The thing is it's one of those, if that is what you're dealing with, I feel like you're not fully going to be able to find this internal peace until you come to some sort of resolution when it comes to that situation, because there is something tied into your dream reality over here, your ideal version of life that is intertwined with this resolution. Um, for others of you, if this is just you being pulled, the intuitive path versus the logical path, something like that, and you really want peace starts within. And so that's where it's, regulating your nervous system and finding that internal sense of peace within, regardless of the chaos and the bullshit going on outside of you. When you can find that internal peace within, and this isn't saying you're always going to feel peaceful because we are humans, there's a whole lot of shit going on in the world, etc., etc. But if you can find that sense of peace on a daily basis, even for a little bit, the more you will start to experience it more regularly. And then the more you're going to experience external events in your life that are reflecting that peaceful energy back to you. And sometimes it takes a while to get there, so be patient with yourself. Remember, you're rewriting a whole lot of stuff. You're reprogramming your subconscious mind. You're opening up to possibilities versus restrictions. You're opening up to abundance versus limitations. It's going to take some time to rewire yourself to get to that point. So be patient with yourself. Anything else from this one? Get into the trip. Okay. Okay, what I'm getting from this is actually a longing energy. And what I'm getting is actually longing for peace. So it could be this, yeah, because then we've got chaos and conflict. So I feel like you are experiencing chaos and conflict in life in some way, whether this is externally or internally or both. So there is chaos and conflict that you are dealing with. And then there's this sense of longing for peace. And if you are desiring to experience peace on a regular basis, you have the ability to do so. Um, Again, it's a process and it takes practice and it's a whole hell of a lot of conscience work to get to that point. But it is possible. It absolutely is possible, regardless of what's going on around you. Okay, we've got garden and the gate. Is that in reverse? Okay. So there is something here where you are feeling like something is out of reach. Okay. Um, I had to verify. Sometimes this card's talking about you being in this garden behind this gate, but what I'm getting in this energy is actually you feel like there is something that is out of your reach. And it is a perspective thing. Yeah, it's just how you're looking at it. Not trying to call you out, just reading the energy. Um, and maybe for some of you, it's actually this peace or this dream reality. Maybe you feel like it's just out of reach for you that, yeah, it would be nice, but fill in the blank with all the limiting beliefs. Um, because ultimately what you desires you. Your dream reality desires you to live in that version of reality. It sounds weird, but that's how it works. Because the thing is, too, is think about this. I'm talking to somebody who probably has a sense of soul purpose that you're being called by. Whether you know what that is or not, it's an internal fire, it's an internal calling that is pulling you, that will not let you rest, that will not let you settle, that it's always there. It's this pull that you're meant to do something different. You're here for more and you just don't know what that is. That's soul purpose calling you to align with this dream reality. Well, here's the thing. If you think about your dream reality, okay? And think about living in your dream reality. So, whatever that is for you, you are living your dream reality right now. You have all the financial abundance that you need to live the lifestyle you want. You have the types of people around you that you desire to have as far as like friends and things like that. You have, the person that you desire to share life with. Okay? Put yourself in that energy. Now think about what you are capable of in that energy. It's a whole hell of a lot more than you being in survival mode and just, making it, like just muscling through life. And there's not a whole lot of overflow that you can give from because that's just, that's survival mode. And so there's not a whole lot of overflow. It's, looking at a lot of things that you would like to do, but it's just, not realistic at the moment. And maybe this just isn't meant for you. And maybe that's just not meant for you. Now think about how expansive it would feel to be able to do the things you actually want to do. Now, when you zoom out even more, now get soul purpose involved. And now look at how many people you can help if you're being called to help people or animals or whatever it is. Oftentimes, soul purpose is going to call you to give back in some way, to serve in some way. So sometimes that's, owning an animal rescue. Sometimes that's being able to just fund an animal rescue. Um, sometimes it's going to be helping people, guiding people, or creating heart-centered stuff. Like I heard heart-centered music, high vibe music. Um, helping come up with different inventions that can actually combat some of the negative effects that some of, the human activities have caused to the planet. Something that helps to reduce pollution and it's in a, beneficial way. It's not causing more pollution on the back end or whatever. Think about the effect that you can have from that place of you being in your literal dream reality. It's not just about you. It's about all of the people that you can help in some way, because even if you're not called to help people, you being in that energy is illuminating to other people what is possible. So it's just naturally inspiring. And it's also simultaneously naturally triggering. It's going to piss a lot of people off, but it just depends on where they're at on their journey. Some people are going to see it and be like, oh, I can't do that. So, meh. And then, some people are going to be like, oh shit, that is so cool. How did you do it? Or now that I see that somebody else is doing it, I know I can. And so it's one of those things like it literally, the divine literally wants you to live over here in your dream reality for multiple reasons. And yeah, of course, it's to experience that through you. And it's also for the effect and everything else that is going to overflow into the collective, basically. Okay, we've got the sixth chakra. Okay, so that's intuition. And I was getting a lot of stuff coming up about your intuitive guidance. And so this is really saying that your intuition is talking to you right now. Sometimes it's quieter than the mind. So sometimes it requires you to pull out of your mind in some way and actually listen to it. Most of the time, intuition, we feel it in our body somewhere. Or sometimes, it can come through clairaudience, like hearing different things. That one is a little more tricky, especially at first, because of the ego and all of the negative thoughts and the fear thoughts and anxious thoughts and all of that stuff. Your intuition is definitely on point. It is guiding you into this beautiful life that you are meant to experience, and you are aligning with it now. It's one of these things like you have this opportunity to fully shift into this version of yourself that is experiencing the life of your dreams, and don't limit it. There is, you're talking about the divine that can literally change your life overnight with a random blessing. So remember who you're working for. You're working for the divine at this point. Like when you follow the intuitively led path, you're directly working with the divine. And so don't limit that because it's limitless. So if you can think it, you can do it. And then we've got a change in the wind. Oh, for some of you, there is a change in the wind on what you're looking at as being out of reach for you. Um, which is beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Contract. No. Okay. Okay, interesting. What I'm getting from this, some of you have a contract with the collective, and that's why you're being called into this. And it's interesting because I was going on a whole ramble about soul purpose and allowing yourself to know that you are worthy of it and you are deserving of it and so on and so forth. Um, part of it is you have a contract, a soul contract with the collective to help uplift the collective. And again, this doesn't have to be you out in the public eye guiding other people literally. It can be, absolutely. This can just be you living your best life. And what that does in the quantum realm for the collective, for the humanity collective, is it helps to pave the way for other people to follow that and to tap into their own inner possibility and align with their own version of their ideal reality. So there is, yeah, that's big. That's big. No pressure. Just, you know, got a collective contract to fulfill, which a lot of us on this journey do, so don't kind of freak out about it. Um, it's just one of those, that's part of the reason your soul is not going to let you rest when it comes to this. You're going to continue to feel that call until you align with this. Um, until you align with your soul purpose. And then that that internal unrest quiets down because you're now aligned with what that call has been pulling you towards. Yep, co-creating and community. So yeah, there definitely is. You're co-creating with the divine. For some of you, you're also being called to co-create with other people as well, maybe in a big way. This could be working on collective like projects or inventions or, something like that. Like teamwork, collaboration, things of that nature. And that's part of this soul call that you're feeling is because you are meant for more. You came here to have this human experience, to go through some of the things you did so that you can wake up and you can align with the path. And then now that you're really allowing yourself to start aligning with this, because I feel like you already have started to align with it in some ways. I just feel like there's one major way that you're being called to fully align with your path right now, and you're not allowing yourself to do it because it's a little bit scary. And that's okay. That's normal. If your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. So remember that. Um, there should be a little bit of scariness because it is expanding you. It's pushing you out of your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. So you are being called to co-create with other people in the physical world. And this does have something to do with soul purpose. Okay. Do a couple more from here. Possibly get into the tarot. I don't know. This might be good. Might not need the tarot. Okay. All right. I'm only getting one message from this right now. So we're gonna go with it. And then if anything else comes through, we'll go from there. Okay, take this if it resonates. For some of you, and I was getting that earlier, so this is just confirmation. So for some of you, you are being guided to actually have a conversation where you are speaking your truth in the physical realm. So we've got the throat chakra, which sits at the throat. The color's blue, has to do with our communication. And then we've got the base chakra or the root chakra. It sits at the base of the spine. The color's red. It has to do with grounding things into the physical reality and stability and security and things like that. And then smack ass in the middle is truth be told. And so for some of you, what you're being called to do is to allow yourself to communicate your truth, and that is going to help you ground in more of this energy that is aligned with your ideal reality, with that dream reality. And so for some of you, this could be Maybe you're being called to guide people and share your own personal experience and help other people get through what you went through in, a faster, easier way because you went through it and you learned a lot. And so now you can help guide other people through that a lot quicker because you've done it and so you know how to get through it. For some of you, that could be part of your purpose, your sole purpose that you're being called into. And then there is also this element for some of you, it's like that reconciliation or that resolution energy of communicating your truth to a person that kind of clears the air. And then that is going to help your energy shift into a point where you can actually ground in some of this higher vibe energy, basically, and really ground it in and start experiencing things in life that you want to experience versus manifesting by default, because we're always manifesting. Um, it's just if we're consciously manifesting and pulling in things we desire, or if we're manifesting from default and just those expectations of like, well, I just don't have good luck, or I just blah blah blah. Limiting beliefs. And I get it, I had to reprogram my subconscious mind. It took a while. And there's still shit that comes up that I'm like, ugh, gotta work on this one, gotta work on that one. Um, so I mean, it's a process. And remember that this is a journey. This is a process. This is not a one and done, boom, you have a spiritual awakening, and then you live your dream reality a month later and all is groovy. It's a process, it's a journey. We're ever expanding, we're ever growing, we're ever learning, we're ever evolving, and that's beautiful. The more we walk this path, the easier some of these integrations and ascensions ha- you know are. However, it's still a process. um for whatever reason, I was just like reminded of this. um, some of you could be experiencing Kundalini symptoms or activations. If so, let me know in the comments below if you would like some more guidance on that. It's a hell of a process. And that's just like that's a whole separate video. Um, but I was randomly reminded that I had another activation yesterday. And now it's one of those like for me, I had a Kundalini, well, I have a weird kind of thing. So my Kundalini activated when I was really young. And then it kind of went dormant, just life. And then about 10 years later, I had the full blown spontaneous Kundalini awakening. And that's what really caused my full spiritual awakening. And then I didn't have many Kundalini activations or anything up until about a year and a half ago. And then all of a sudden it's just like every couple months it'll be like an activation. And so sometimes things like that will happen, and it's there's I've been through a lot of Kundalini stuff, and every time it happens it's intense. It's really really physically intense. So some things like that, they're just when you've got your Kundalini energy moving like that, it just is what it is. You're there's not really a toning down of that kind of thing. Or like upgrades, when you're getting upgraded and like expanding in your gifts and things like that, you're still going to go through a lot of those physical things. When it comes to like all of a sudden clocking a limiting belief that is not allowing you to align with something that you're desiring, that stuff gets easier. Some of these physical things that we experience on this journey, um they're still just going to be intense. I mean, it is what it is. And then we just learn, just learn on different things on how you can support your physical body, and that'll make it easier or make like the symptoms not last as long if you're talking spiritual ascension symptoms, things like that. um there's stuff like that that of course you'll learn, and it'll be good. But there's, just buckle up. It's a journey. That's the moral of that whole ramble. Anyways, I don't know, I was guided to share that. So maybe some of you are experiencing some sort of like weird physical symptoms. Because I'm talking about physical symptoms, If you're concerned in any way, check with a medical health professional. I'm not offering advice. We're just talking about things from a spiritual and energetic standpoint. Um, that being said, the Kundalini is absolutely really, really intense. But the thing is like chakra clearing can be really intense. Sometimes you'll feel it literally in your body. It can cause physical symptoms. So you could be experiencing some things like that right now. And it could just have to do with your energy centers in your body going through like upgrades or clearing or shifting, realigning. And so just, again, be patient with yourself, ask your guidance, whatever you work with, is this something like, is there anything that I can do to support my physical body going through some of this stuff? And then you'll be guided to it. So just, that's a good little hack as well. Okay. Um, hmm. Give me just a second. So I was trying to figure out the message with these cards. So I got this message, and we'll work through this message together with the other three cards. Okay. So what I'm getting here, we've got the by the book card and the journey card. And what I'm getting, sometimes this card is talking about like do things by the book when it comes to this. But we're talking so much about going against the grain, following the intuitively led path that it just didn't feel like that was the guidance. And it's not. So what the guidance is there's a situation that you are trying to do things in a traditional way, or you're trying to go like by the book, quote unquote. And oftentimes what that is that's like societal standards, or like there's normally okay, I just got a really weird okay, I got a really weird example. So this is like there's standards, or like a set of like rules or whatever when it comes to dating. And it has to be this first, and then that, and then this, and then that. And then you're over here dealing with a divine connection that is literally not by the book at all. And that's just an example. So this could be even like with a job, where it's like, or just the societal expectations of you go to college and you get further education, and then you get a job that can pay the bills for the rest of your life, and that's just not the way it is anymore. There's certain fields, of course, where that is still the case, but a lot of it is not. So that's just, it's outdated at this point because of technology. And so there's this energy in what you're dealing with, where you are attempting to look at something through the lens of, I need to do it this way because this is the way it's always been done, or this is the way it's supposed to be done, when you're actually meant to walk this journey where you're being led by the divine, by your higher self, and being intuitively led. And so you're being called to actually pave a new way. So it's like you're looking at it going, okay, I'm being called to do this thing, or I'm being called into this, into this next level of something. And normally, to get there, you have to do this, and then you have to do that, then you have to wait for 10 years, then you have to do this, whatever it is. And what you're being called to do is actually listen to your intuition, which is going to lead you down a different path, but you're going to get there in a different way. And oftentimes it's a lot quicker when we're actually listening to our intuition and following that guidance. So yeah. Um okay, now, okay, we've got Angel of Balance, World, and Woman Holding a Heart. Um, okay, I'm getting a specific message for somebody. So take this if it resonates. For some of you, you are being guided to balance out a situation with a feminine energy that you are romantically interested in, that is in the public eye in some way. Very specific message. The other way that this could come about is if you are really wanting a romantic connection that is very this is like a high level connection where it's just it's harmonious. There's that soul resonance. You're both on the journey, that kind of thing. There is this sense of balance that you're being called to really look at. So if you are desiring that romantic connection with another person, find that inner balance first. Um, between those masculine and feminine energies within. And when you balance those energies within, then you naturally are in an energy to where you can align with somebody who has their internal aspects balanced. And then, it's very, very harmonious. For a very select few, there's something about, okay, so I'm getting different threads of energy. So that previous thing that I just said is going to be for those of you who don't have a particular person in mind. You're just desiring to have a high level love. The message for those of you that do know, it's like you already know who your person is, your desired person. You already know who this is. And you're being called to find balance in that situation. And by finding balance in this situation, it's going to continue to help you really balance those internal masculine and feminine energies within. So it sounds kind of backwards because normally it's inside out first, but there's a sense here of like you've done enough of the inner work that you're ready to align with this now, and it's going to help you find a deeper level of balance that you aren't going to be able to fully experience on your own. And that's not saying that, yeah, it's hard because that sounds so limiting, but there are certain situations and certain soul connections that can just take you to a level that you just aren't fully going to get to on your own. And that's just where we co-create. And for those of us that are hyper independent, we do not like hearing that because we want to do it all on our own because it's safer that way. But there is a sense of, vulnerability and trust in allowing somebody else to actually help you that can assist you in getting to certain heights in a way, certain, help you align with certain things that you desire in a faster way. We'll just say that because I don't want to be like, it's not possible without this person because that's not really accurate. It's just there's certain things, especially when we're talking different types of connections, there's certain levels that, we need other people to help us in a way. We're an interdependent species. Humans are interdependent. And so, we are communal. We do work together, and there are certain things that we can experience and learn in relationships that we're not able to learn on our own. It just is what it is. Um and yes, I do understand the frustration of that because, from one fellow hyper independent person to another, I feel you. But that is just the reality. Um okay, let me see. So, I was wondering, I got told before I recorded that we were going to get into the tarot, and then I wasn't sure if we were actually going to. And so I paused it for a minute to see, and yes, we are. What's going on with the tarot? All right. What's going on for the collective? A lot going on. Six of Swords. Okay. This is there is a sense of finding balance that's coming through with this. It's headed towards calmer waters. It's kind of the energy too of just like cut and run. Um, hmm. And then we've got the High Priestess. This is intuition. Um, so yeah, your intuition is really guiding you. And this could be something your intuition is guiding you to, is to kind of cut your losses and go in a different direction. And sometimes that's really frustrating because we've put a lot of time and energy into something and then we're just called to just kind of leave it behind. So make sure you're listening to your intuition on that. But I do feel like there is something here that you're definitely being intuitively led. for sure. But there's something here where you're being called again, there is this sense of balance in this energy. You're being guided to balance out a situation or find more internal balance, whatever this is for you, but there is that energy of balance coming through. And then we've got the Hierophant. Now, this can be talking about taking a connection to the next level. So there is that definitely in this energy. The Hierophant is also talking about typical structures and things like that. And so kind of those societal expectations, those norms, and then listening to your intuition and really aligning like what societal expectations align with you and which ones don't. That kind of energy. And again, with the Hierophant, there's also that energy of balance coming through. Seven of Swords, this is talking about illusions. Okay, what's going on with the illusions, Spirit? Oh, for some of you, you're kind of worried about this. For some of you, you're kind of worried about this because of your previous experiences. For some of you, this could have to do with the high level counterpart situation. We just got the lovers, so there's definitely that romantic thread of energy coming through. Um, hmm. Yeah, there's also the element with the Hierophant, there's also this element of ascension. And it's one of these things, okay, for some of you, there was something that you were looking at from a different perspective, and you were thinking that it was like too good to be true, or there was an illusion around it, or something like that. And then because you've continued to ascend, you've continued to do some of the inner work and align with the divine, your intuition is really, really guiding you right now. And there is this sense of bringing balance and going towards somebody that you desire having a romantic connection with. Um, and in that, I'm getting like, you know who this person is. You know that they're your person, and you know it's time to go towards them. And it could be just reaching out because my phone is ringing right now. It's a spam call because, rah rah. But just the fact that it is ringing right now is symbolic that some of you are being guided to break no contact, basically. So you'll know if that message is for you. That's a that's a particular one. Um, okay. So I paused it really quick because the card fell on the floor. And then I was looking at the next cards that came out, and I'm only getting a thread of energy where it comes to this romantic thread of energy. I do feel like it's a counterpart situation. I feel like I'm talking to a divine masculine who is being called to reconnect with their person. So if that is not resonating with you, and you want to click off, it was great to have you here. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you on the next one. If you're resonating with that specific thread of energy, let's get into this. Okay, so we've got the Hermit card. And the Two of Pentacles is what fell on the floor. And the Two of Pentacles can be talking about having a lot going on. And then there's the situation of like, or it's the energy of having so much going on and not really wanting to um it's kind of this energy of like, I've got so much going on. I'm in such a transition phase. I don't know what it's like there's a lot of unknowns that you're dealing with right now in life. And it's because you're being called to this intuitively led path. And so there's going to be a lot of unknowns on the path, especially at first. And there's what's like the hidden element, because there's a hidden element with it falling on the floor. And this hidden element is you reaching out to this person or communicating with them, speaking your truth, whatever it is for you, what's actually going to happen is it's going to energetically help you to find even more balance in your physical life. and I'm getting this energy, like, even if you are just talking to this person in a platonic way, it's going to help you to find more balance in your life. And it's not saying that you're going to go like unload all of your stuff on your person. It's just there's an energy thing that will happen that will allow you to shift your energy in such a way that you'll be able to balance everything that you're going through, all of these changes, all these transformations, all of this stuff in just a very different way. And then the hermit, I got a funny message off of this, and I'm laughing because I fully resonate with this. What I'm hearing is it's time to allow yourself to get out of hermit mode. So hermit mode is a really funny thing because the first time we're fully called into hermit mode, like on the awakening journey, and all of a sudden you're changing your lifestyle and you're not hanging out with people the way you used to, and you're not, like, for me it was like I would party, and not like a lot, but it would just be like I would have friends come over and we would play beer pong or whatever. And then, I went through the spiritual awakening, and I was in my 20s, late 20s, and it was like, okay, enough of that. And so it was one of those, instead of like hanging out and playing beer pong with a bunch of people and bumping music all night long on a Friday night, it was, you know, doing other things, meditating with Moldavite because I don't do anything half-ass. Um, but Moldavite's a crystal if you don't know what it is. It's actually a really cool crystal. Okay. It's like I'm a geek out over crystals over here, so I'm not going to go down that whole rabbit hole, but Moldavite's a really cool crystal. Anyhow, um, so the first time we go into hermit mode, it can be difficult because we're used to a lot of that external approval and hanging out with a bunch of people and socializing and doing all these things. Then it shifts to a point where you are in hermit mode, you're not really hanging out with a lot of people, you're doing more of this internal work, stuff like that. Then it gets to a point to where we really like you can really kind of get stuck in hermit mode because you're just like, I don't really know a whole lot of like-minded people. It's actually kind of exhausting to have to constantly like hold parts of myself back and not be able to talk about certain things. And it's just draining to go hang out with people and they're talking about mundane shit when you're over here contemplating, other realms and energy and how the quantum realm works, and just things like that. It's a very different, like, your interests change in a very major way, and then finding people who have those same interests can be challenging. And so you're being guided to get out of hermit mode in the sense of allowing yourself to communicate with your person who is on the journey, who you've got just a deep connection with this person. This is the person that you could talk to about things like, hey, are you getting my telepathic messages? Have you experienced this thing? Do you dream about me every other night? That kind of shit. um and so, yeah, there is this energy here of like, I do feel like ultimately this is the goal, is to have this loving connection with this person. The thing is this might start off more platonically. And with that, there is still this element here of you being heart open with your person, though. And with the King of Cups, this is saying that you are in the energy of emotional maturity and able to communicate about these things with your person. And that's that sense of vulnerability that was coming through earlier of like, be vulnerable with your person. You don't have to be vulnerable with everybody around you. Matter of fact, it's not, it's often not in our best interest to be vulnerable with every single person. This situation is calling for you to be vulnerable and to have that heart to heart communication with your person. Um, the Four of Pentacles is talking about really holding something close to the chest. And I feel like this is actually just the connection. Whether you're actually speaking to people about this connection or not is going to vary. Um, but it is one of those things, like, I feel like you've been holding on to this person and this connection for a long time. And it's one of those things, there's a reason you've never been able to let it go. There's a reason that every time you've tried to let it go, you can't. There's a reason that they just continuously pop up into your mind or your dreams or in the signs and synchronicities. There's a reason. And also think about it too. The reason that that has amped up for you is because there is an alignment with you and your person. There is divine timing on your side, and you are being intuitively led to have this communication with your person. And there's a reason for all of it. And it does have to do with timing. It has to do with alignment. It has to do with, lots of different factors. And the thing is, yeah, you are manifesting this, and so is your person. I just heard. Jeez. Yeah. Holy jeez. Or holy cheese. Sorry. Anyways, I gotta shake this up because this energy gets intense. Okay, the magician, you're manifesting. You're manifesting this. You're manifesting the Ten of Cups with your person. This is happily ever after. Um, and it's time for you to communicate about this. I do feel like there is this creative, passionate energy that your person brings out of you. They probably naturally inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And there's probably also an inspiration for your creativity that you receive from your person as well. Um, so yeah, and again, there's so much more here than just this romantic union, although it is absolutely in this energy. So yeah, you're manifesting this, and so is your person. So you're not going to be able to rest fully until you allow yourself to do this. And there's this energy like you don't need to reach out to your person. You don't need to reconnect with them. However, if you don't, at this point, I feel like there's this sense of you would regret it. Just being real honest here. Um, it's this sense of I feel like you're getting to the point where and if you're not there yet, you're gonna hit this point where it's like, I have to know. Because if I go the rest of my life not knowing and not reaching out, I'm never gonna forgive myself for it. So I have to know if this person really is on the same page. And there is something here where it's like the divine is aligning you two together now, because not only is this beautiful romantic union here for you, there's also so much more about you and your like ideal version of reality, like your dream reality. There's this sense, and I feel like you know this, but there's this sense of you and this person working together and coming together. There's certain heights that both of you can reach together that just aren't going to be as plausible if you don't come together and work together. It's not saying you can't experience certain things. It's not saying you can't experience a fulfilling life without your person. It's just there's this energy of it's almost I just got like this reprioritization energy. So maybe for a while this was something, maybe this Ten of Cups energy, this happily ever after, this beautiful, happy, harmonious energy with another person wasn't really a priority. It was just like if it happens, cool. If not, cool. I just heard focus on my bag, which is the younger people's way of saying focusing on their money. Your finances, your other hobbies and things like that. And you're just, if it happens, cool. If not, cool. And then there was like a reprioritization that happened. Things were illuminated to you. And when you started to really fully align more with that authentic version of you, your priorities do shift. Things you desire do shift when you're starting to really live life from an internal validation standpoint versus an external validation standpoint. So what is it that I actually want to experience on a regular basis versus what am I doing that I'm supposed to be doing or what society tells me to do? When you start to reorient yourself, your priorities will change. And I feel like there was something here where your priorities did change. And now this is something that you're desiring like almost above anything else. It feels like a very high priority for you now. That like if you could pick one thing from your dream reality to guaranteed experience, it would be this energy with this person over other desires. Hold on. So I had to pause it really quick. I just got hit with the flood of emotions, which is interesting because I've gotten used to tapping into this energy and not getting tapped into the emotions of it. Because when you're channeling, when you're, reading for other people, you're operating from the upper chakras, and so you're not as tapped into like feeling all the feelings. But this, like, right when I was talking about that, like, this all of a sudden became one of your top priorities. A fucking flood of emotion just came up out of nowhere. Um, and so I paused it for a second. And then when I was getting ready to um hit like record, um basically what I heard is that might have been symbolic. So that might have been how this happened for you. Was you were just going about your life, and maybe, and I'm getting for some of you, like, you went through a spiritual awakening and you started going through some of this stuff, and then it came up just like a flood of just awareness and emotions and processing and all of that stuff. And then I'm getting like regret and grief. And so this all could have just flooded to the surface out of absolutely nowhere. And all of a sudden it was like this desire to have this connection with this person in the physical realm all of a sudden moved closer to the top of your priority list. And there might be a part of you that's wondering why. Well, because it's for you. Because it's possible for you. And the thing is it wouldn't have flooded up to your awareness at this point, and you wouldn't have been going through all of that you've been going through when it comes to this connection if there wasn't something more to it. And in this sense, in this energy, it's because there is this mutual desire, there is this mutual manifestation. You and your person are both manifesting this with each other. And so you can fight it. You can not go towards your person. You can choose not to do that because you have free will. That is the beauty of being a human, is you don't have to do any of that. However, there is this sense of I'm really getting like, if you don't do this, I feel like you are deeply going to regret it more than anything. So just kind of sit with that and just like weigh it out. Like, is it really worth me, kind of being bullheaded and stubborn and not doing what I'm being called to do because of, vulnerability or fear of rejection or whatever it is for you, worthiness stuff, whatever's being triggered for you, it's going to be deep-seated wounds. Just that's the nature of these connections. Is it really worth not taking that chance and never knowing? And then always wondering if that was possible. Or is it worth you actually saying, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to take this chance because if not, what's really going to change in life? But if it's a yes from that person, what you have on the other side of this is absolutely beautiful. The 10 of cups is literally complete emotional fulfillment. And there's so much more here too, because there is shared soul purpose that's coming through as well. So it's just in the activations that you can have with your person in the physical realm, it's beyond, it's beyond what you can experience by yourself. It just is what it is. And again, I feel like I'm talking to somebody else who's very hyper independent, and we don't fucking like hearing that. But it just is what it is. Okay, so I had to blow my nose again, and that is definitely that suppressed communication energy coming through. Um, so yeah. Um, okay, we've got Eight of Pentacles, Cups. Okay, the Eight of Pentacles is talking about soul purpose. So there's definitely something here about soul purpose and mission and being called for more that is definitely coming through. Um, the Three of Wands is talking about waiting. So I'm getting this energy of like you and your person are both in kind of a waiting energy, like you're waiting for each other. Um, and the Five of Cups. Yeah, this is this can be a missed opportunity. It's also focusing on the lack. So you could be focusing on kind of the whatever situation, because I'm talking to somebody who you know who this person is and you've experienced them in some way, whether it was actually romantic or just platonic. You know who this person is, and then you've been out of communication for a while. And so it's this energy of maybe you're focusing on a lot of the grief and the regret and things like that. And it's prolonging this waiting energy. Wheel of Fortune and the Tower. Okay. Wheel of Fortune is saying that things are turning in your favor. This is good fortune. This is really it's also like I heard second chance, but it's not really a second chance, it's a fresh start. So it's like you're coming in, and that makes sense because you're coming in after a period of processing blah, 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 processing some things, clearing some karma, getting off of the wheel of karma and choosing that, you're done with these lessons, you've learned the lessons, you've integrated them, and now you want to experience something different. So now, because you've done that and your person's done that as well, now you're being given this beautiful fresh start with this person to lock in and have a beautiful, beautiful life together, really. 10 of Cups is long term, like lifelong commitment energy. There's also family energy there too. So if that's something that you're desiring, that's going to be a mutual desire that you and your person have. And then the Tower. This is this is divine intervention. This is major life changes. That could be something for some of you. You've been doing a lot of stuff in your life to get reoriented to where you could actually have this with your person. And then it's also saying that, like, this is being divinely led. There is divine intervention here. This is a divine connection. There is way more going on than meets the eye. There's way more going on between you and this person than what's going on in the physical realm. And there always has been, is what I just heard. There always has been this deeper layer of connection to this person. Yeah, it's the energy of, like, even when you try to let this person go, when you try to forget them, you can't. And then maybe you just, I was gonna say, like me, maybe you just got used to it and we're just like, well, for whatever reason, I'm just gonna think about this person randomly and okay. And then I feel like now you have the awareness of the intensity of the level of soul connection you have with this person. And so now it's one of those, like, okay, do you want to keep it the way that it's been, where you just, carry them with you wherever you go, and they're always in the background, no matter what you do, and, you just live life like that? Or do you want to actually come in and attempt to lock it down in the physical realm with them and actually experience them on a day to day basis? And then Eight of Wands on the bottom of the deck. That's fast moving communication. That's also saying that after you allow yourself to take this risk, ultimately, because it is a risk, because you can hear it from me all day long that this person is reciprocating these feelings, but until you actually go communicate with them in the physical realm, you're not going to fully know. Um, I was like in the middle of a thought and it just left. So that happens. Yeah, there we go. Take the risk. It is a risk. It's a leap of faith. And so with that, it's one of those, by allowing yourself to take this leap of faith and make some sort of offer, even if it's just an offer of love, an offer of, it might be a situation where you're like, look, I want to offer you the world. However, right now, what I physically, tangibly can offer you is blank, 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 but I can offer you commitment. I can offer you me, and allow that to be enough. Because in this situation, I'm getting this building together energy. So don't worry so much about what you physically have to offer your person, if that is a concern. Um, so yeah. Um, And also with the Eight of Pentacles, I mean, eight, what the fuck? Hold on. Ace of Pentacles. Um, this is also a divine offer. So there's stuff here when you follow the guidance just in general. When you follow your intuitive guidance, the divine will come through to help you in unseen ways. So remember that. So if you're like, well, I don't, I want to offer this person the world, but I don't have access to completely offer them the world right now, just know that by you following the guidance and communicating and so on and so forth, the divine's going to come through to assist you in leveling up in the areas of life that need leveling up. Okay. Like sometimes the words come through all jumbled, so hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Three of Cups, this is celebration energy. Um and then the Knight of Wands, that's fast moving energy. Um Yeah, it's really it's fast. It's also passionate. Um, and I'm hearing there is something to celebrate here. There really is. And the Seven of Wands is guarded energy. So you could feel like your person is guarded when it comes to you. Um, and they might be a little bit, just depending on what happened in the past, where they're at in life, so on and so forth. However, it's one of these things that if you allow yourself to go towards them in a more heart open way, I don't feel like you're going to get a whole lot of guarded energy from them. Now again, use your own discernment, listen to your own intuition when it comes to this. Um, but I'm getting that it is aligned for you at this time. Yeah, and it's because you've put so many ends to different cycles in your life. And just being able to consciously be aware of certain things and the willingness to put the ends to cycles that are no longer working and the willingness to walk the aligned path, that in and of itself is absolutely huge. So don't allow yourself to look at your physical reality in this now moment and say, it's not enough. I'm not enough. Because you are. You wouldn't be being guided to your person right now if you didn't have enough to offer your person. And the thing is what a divine masculine has to offer their divine feminine, it's an energy thing above all else. And yes, of course, we live in a physical world, so there's physical responsibilities and bills and blah, blah, blah. However, when you've got two counterparts coming together to co-create reality together, the quantum jumping that you're going to experience when it comes to things like finances, soul purpose, so on and so forth, it's going to be absolutely unreal. Is really what's going to happen. It's going to be like all of a sudden, oh shit, within 6 months, I leveled up my finances massively. And now we're, completely in a thriving energy versus surviving. So don't limit the divine. Don't limit what the divine can do. Especially when you're following the guidance. Oh, that's heavy energy. Okay, we've got Nine of Swords, Nine of Wands. There is 9-9 energy here, so you could be seeing nines. That's also completion. That's also endings of cycles. 999 is also a call to light workers and those on the path to fully align with soul purpose. There's another hidden element of 999 energy. Nine of Swords is very insomnia, anxiety, really, really just stressed out, up in your head, thinking about all of the potentials and all of the worries and all of the things that could go wrong and blah, 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 blah. Um, Nine of Wands is that's exhausted energy. You've been through a lot, you've been wounded, you've been hurt, you've gone through it. There is also a betrayal energy that's coming through here. So you could have experienced a betrayal in relationships. And the thing is, though, is the Nine of Wands is a wounded warrior energy. So what this is saying is like, yes, you've been wounded. However, you've learned from it. You've healed certain things about it. And now you're ready to step out and help others if you so choose to do so. It's very much like, yeah, you've been wounded, but guess what? You're a warrior. So you're good. It was all part of the process. It was, you learned your lessons and you're ready for something different. And that's what the divine is trying to bring to you now is something completely different. And it's in life in general. It's in big, big ways, but it is requiring you to tap into that authenticity and really allow yourself to do some of those things that make you uncomfortable, but that are for your highest good, that are for your expansion, that are for your growth. The Ten of Swords did come out, and that's literally betrayal energy. The thing with the Ten of Swords is this is the end of betrayal. So if you've experienced a lot of connections, especially romantically, where it ended in betrayal or there was some sort of element of, manipulation or all the yuck stuff, it's an end to that cycle. So you've put an end to it, and now you're ready for this beautiful connection if that is something you allow yourself to go towards, because the Two of Swords here is indecision energy, and that's what we started the reading off with, was that indecision energy. And so you're really being guided at this time to make a decision and to allow yourself to go towards what it is that you are desiring, what it is that you do want to have. um Again, it's pushing you, and that's the point. When we align with stuff of our dreams, it's going to push us out of our comfort zone, whether it's a person or a career or a living location or whatever it is. The Hanged Man, you've seen some things from a different perspective. There is also something here where you and your person communicating with each other you're going to gain a different perspective on certain things when it comes to this connection. And then the King of Swords. Okay, so this is talking about your truth. This is communicating your truth. So, Four of Swords. Okay, so this is kind of a timeout energy. Rest, rejuvenation, healing after heartbreak. And then Two of Cups. Okay. The Eight of Wands did want to come out. And Strength. Okay. So yeah, Four of Swords, this is rest and rejuvenation. It's also like a reassessing period. It's kind of the equivalent of like halftime in football. And so it's almost like this halftime energy, but in life in general. It's like where you're reassessing things. You're looking at the first half and like, okay, what went good? What could we do better? How's our pass game? How's our rush game? What's going on? Let's, do this, change that, so on and so forth. And it's that kind of metaphor in life in general. So it's this energy of like, okay, this is what I've done up till now. This is what I've experienced up till now. What do I want to experience? What do I want the last half to look like? And this could be like the last half of, just like the rest of your life. But it's more metaphoric. Like, what do you want this next phase to look like? What do you want it to include? What worked in the first half and what didn't? So it's kind of that reassessing energy that's really coming through. And again, I do feel like, yeah, with the Two of Cups here, that is something that in this reassessing, I feel like you realize, like, wait a minute, I do want this happy, harmonious union. I do want to ride off into the sunset with my perfect person and travel the world and live soul purpose together and, have a family or whatever it is for you. um it's going to be different for everybody, but it's definitely that energy of like reassessing and realizing that this is something you desire. And now, once you come to that awareness and then realize that you do have the possibility here, so that's the other thing too to remember. All right, okay, I'm gonna spit some truth here. You have a person walking around this planet that is your highest level soulmate. Okay. And I'm getting counterpart energy. So if you're resonating with that journey, this is literally the other half of your soul. It is an incredibly rare journey. It's part of the reason I didn't really want to talk about it for a long time because a lot of people try to force it to fit, and it's just a very rare journey. It just is. Who I'm talking to, especially if you're still here, you probably are on the counterpart journey. Um, that is something people would kill to have. So just remember that. Like, you literally have a person walking around this planet that is also simultaneously manifesting this with you. And all you're being asked to do is to communicate with them. And the possibility here for you two to have this beautiful union together. I mean, we've got the lovers out here too. Like, all you're being asked to do to have this beautiful union is to communicate with your person. And the thing is it's one of those, like, people, there are so many people that they would do anything to have this connection with another person that you have with your person. So why not allow yourself to have it in the physical realm? Like, you are manifesting this with your person. Your person is manifesting this with you. So why not allow yourself to have it and ride off in the sunset with your person? Strength. You do have the inner resolve that it takes to navigate this connection at this time. And I feel like maybe that's something that you've been being worked on by the divine, and now you're ready for it. The Two of Wands, it's picking a path. It's allowing yourself to choose the path that you want to walk. And you're being given a beautiful opportunity here to walk a very aligned, heart-centered, fulfilled path if you allow yourself to actually follow the guidance and walk that path. Eight of Wands, that's that manifestation energy. It's also really rapid communication. And for some of you it is going to take some extra strength to choose this path and to have this communication. But you have access to this inner strength. You are ready for this, whether you think you are or not. You are, because you wouldn't be being called the way you're being called at this time if it wasn't aligned for you. The Eight of Wands is also talking about, once you allow yourself to take some of those steps and really get on the path fully, the divine's going to come through rapidly with a ton of extra manifestations. And some of them are probably going to be manifestations you forgot you even wanted. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, fuck, I wanted that when I was 20 or whatever, or 10 or whatever. But yeah, this is saying, like, there's a tornado of manifestations that's waiting for you to allow yourself to take that action to fully align with it. And then the divine's like, yeah, buddy, and just brings through a bunch of manifestations for you. And Queen of Pentacles, this is talking about grounded, balanced, up leveling in finances, and really yeah, just very grounded, very stable, um, financially secure. And this isn't necessarily a gender thing. It's just saying that part of what you're manifesting is financial security. And the fast track to getting that manifestation when it comes to finances is actually this romantic offer. Which is funny. Sometimes that's how it works. It's something that we don't, that doesn't seem related. And then all of a sudden we follow the guidance to do this thing. And then all of a sudden this improves on this side. Yeah, Page of Swords. This is talking about baby communication. So a message, a phone call, something just small to kind of get the communication energy flowing. And then from there you can, go from there. The Six of Wands and the Seven of Cups. So this can be talking about having a lot of options, the Seven of Cups. So this could be something you're worried about, like if your person has a lot of options, maybe you have a lot of options. The funny thing is, in this situation, like, I just heard you're the only option. So yeah, it's the energy of, like, even if you guys have a lot of options, both of you, this is the one that both of you desire, is each other at this point. In the Six of Wands, this is talking about victory, success. It can also be talking about being in the public eye. So take it as it resonates. That ultimately what this is saying is if you allow yourself to take this opportunity and go towards your person with your cup of love, it's going to be successful. You will be victorious. All right, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I hope this resonates. Wishing you all the best. You got this. Remember, you're on this journey for a reason, and you're being called to make this next step for a reason. So, and it's for you. It's for your highest good. It's in alignment with the life you are desiring to actually live at this point. So, alrighty, well, feel free to let me know in the comments below if this resonates. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel, so thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can hit subscribe. It is free. I will see you on the next message. Bye.